So this is my almost perfect iPhone 15 Pro rig. There are a couple things I wanted with this rig. I wanted to make sure I had the option to put an ND filter on so that I could control the lighting when it was bright outside. So I wanted to make sure that I could both plug in a hard drive as well as plug in a microphone if I need. And because of that, I needed to make sure I had two ports. The base of this rig is the newer iPhone 15 Pro cage. It's a pretty sturdy cage and it has multiple mounting points. It has a cold shoe mount on the side and a cold shoe mount on the top, and then a lot of quarter thread mounts. It has 3 on each side of the phone, and then it has 2 individual mounts on the top and bottom. One of the things I liked about the newer cage is that it's a lot smaller than some of the bulkier phone cages. They had more mounting points on them, but they ended up being much more bulky, and they also didn't come with any way to attach a filter natively. One of the issues with the 67mm filter thread that came with the newer case was that it didn't seem to tighten when I turned the screw. I ended up super gluing on an 82mm filter ring because that's the size of the filters I currently use, so it's just permanently glued on there. Just a thing to note if you have the same problem. I got 2 small rig handles to go on the top and bottom of the phone. I use those handles when I'm holding the phone horizontally. I made sure that those handles only had 1 thread. There are other handles that have 2 threads, and those won't fit in the single threads on the top and bottom of the phone. Each of the handles have threads on the top. On one handle, I mounted a hard drive holder from Small Rig. On the side of this hard drive holder, there are threads. What I ended up doing is I attached a cold shoe mount to one of those threads so that I could attach the adapter with multiple ports. On the other handle, I have a NATO rail. On top of that, I attached a top handle that is actually facing the side. The reason I did that is because it makes for very easy handling of vertical shooting so that I can quickly switch from vertical to horizontal. On the top handle, there's also various other mounting points. On the side of my cage, I attached a Arca Swiss plate that actually came with a ball head that I had that I wasn't using, so I can mount this to any of my tripods or monopods or other stands I use very easily. The one downside to this setup is that I do not currently have a way to mount the cage vertically. One workaround for that is to potentially use a ball head. To attach the adapter, I ended up connecting it to one of the phone clips that you'd use to attach a phone to a tripod. And then on the back thread of that phone clip, I ended up adding this adapter that turned it into a cold shoe mount. I also ended up realizing that there's a lot of issues with cable management, so I ended up getting a right angle adapter for the cable that goes into the phone, and I ended up getting a U-shaped adapter for the microphone receiver so that it would be facing the right way. The good thing about this setup is that it's very modular. I have a bulkier setup when I want to make sure that I can have a mic and a hard drive, but if I just want a hard drive, I have a much slimmer setup. Another benefit of this setup is there's a lot of other mounting points available, so it's very easy to expand. You can add a light, you can add an additional microphone, and there's a lot of room for customizing it to make sure it is what you need. So this is my setup. I've been liking it so far. Hopefully it gave you some ideas for yours.